Okay, typical Monday, recapping after digesting the film, some good and some bad. I do look at the game as a whole as a good college football game, back and forth. I really talked to the team after the game in the locker room and yesterday. You know, momentum swings and whatnot. I did feel like we battled for 4 quarters. I think about the end of the first half. We kick a field goal going to halftime with some momentum. We're up 7. Starting with the ball, right, the second half, and put the ball on the ground. Defense shows up, backs them up, hold them to a field goal. 2 plays later, offensively false start, throw an interception, give them the ball again. They punch that in immediately. We're all of a sudden from, momentum's in. We got the lead, momentum totally flipped, 10-point swing in whatever it was, 2 minutes. But the response, and we understand the thing's a long game. Battled throughout, huge goal line stop. Huge 4th down stop on the goal line. We take the ball over at the 2, march the thing all the way down, multiple 3rd down conversions, 4th down conversion, and we can't finish in the end zone, and that really separated things. We kicked the field goal, which again, Kim had an awesome game. And then, we lost the last 4 minutes there by them executing and scoring and us not. But we did play for 4 quarters, and I think that just continues to be a resounding theme of this team, which we need to keep moving forward. Overall, defensively, there's a lot to like there, containing a good player in that quarterback, but obviously looking for one more stop. Offensively, we got two glaring things, right? Taking care of the ball, can't turn the thing over. And I do this red zone touchdown percentage is not where it needs to be, and so we've got to continue to make improve in that area. Special teams wise, mentioned Kim, but I will say that the protection, Eckley has a great hold on one of those field goal attempts. I think it was the last one, and he punted well. At the same time, we've got protection issue there on punt. The second one we got to clean that up. We got exposed there. Really fortunate he got the thing off, and obviously on the kick return, it's not just on K-Ron. Yeah, he's got to hold on to the ball, but we can't just give free access to getting hit on the 10-yard line, and so that's what we're looking at, and we'll be back to work and try to improve on some of that stuff. And we're going to need to do it because, good opponent coming in, looking forward to a Saturday night against Ohio State and our place and whatnot. Got a bunch of respect for that program and those coaches and those players, and it'll be a real challenge that we're going to put a lot of work in this week to take on. So with that, questions?
Jonathan, I know we mentioned or talked about your practice schedule being a Sunday team. I was just wondering what you saw from your guys yesterday, and over the course of time, has that ever been a benefit when coming off a loss to get right back out there?
Because we got back so late, we got back, I think it was about 4 a.m. Truly when we got back. So we did not practice yesterday. We did kind of digest the film and met with the guys. Obviously, moods are down when you put a lot of work in and you're trying to win a game and come up short. I do think the mindset, though, is that every Sunday, win or lose, we're going to approach the thing, what did we learn? What do we got to get fixed? And there was plenty there. At the same time, we try to highlight what went well, because we did. We had some guys progressing. We did a better job on the penalty side. Yeah, not just avoiding penalties, but being smart around the quarterback and the sideline. So that's how we approached it, and I think those guys were locked in, and now we're back to work on our next one.
Kind of along those lines, so you have 3 straight night games in a row. I mean, have you tried to prepare for that in terms of shifting schedules at all with that, or?
Not really. Our weekly approach, again, there is still school going on, so being able to change your schedule a bunch is not a reality if you want them going to class. So our weekly approach has been similar. When we play really late, like at 7, we get some things done on Saturday morning, walkthrough wise, but that's really the only difference.
I think we forget you got a 19-year-old quarterback sometimes. He plays with a kind of an abandon, and yet is there a line you have to find between playing with reckless abandon and playing with energy, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a fine line, and you want to play to the edge and not cross it. And again, there's some learning experience going. Aiden's working at it. I think we got to continue to work to help him scheme-wise, right? We're always looking for put him in the best position, but I also think of those other 10 guys. We could help him out a ton by running the ball more effectively. efficiently, not getting in some of these situations where it's 3rd and 10 again and asking them to get us out of that. So it's a group effort to avoid the negative plays and try to keep him out of a situation where he it's all on him.
Jonathan, it's obviously a new staff, half the roster's turned over, but it's been a while since this next matchup's really been competitive. Do you talk to the team at all about belief this week and sort of making sure their confidence is that they sort of belong on the field in this game, so to speak?
Yeah, I don't know a ton of. We're going to talk about it like being belonging. We're excited about opportunity on Saturday. We get 12 of them guaranteed. I want our approach to be pretty consistent. We respect everybody we play. Obviously, these guys demand some respect, and so we'll give them that with our work and preparation. I think hopefully we'll get them to the point on Saturday. They're going to be excited playing this game. There's some good players on the other side, and the atmosphere at our place, counting on it being packed and full of energy, and they're going to be excited to play.
Just to follow up on Aiden, just what did you see from him yesterday? What was his attitude like? And then obviously going up against one of the nation's best defense, how do you just hope to see him respond throughout this week and then obviously on Saturday as well?
Yeah, he was disappointed, just like everybody in the building was. He's anxious to get back and look at it, get to work, fix some things. Again, it's about learning in these games, not just for him, for ourselves, the coaches, players, everybody continue to learn. And really gain some confidence that, we can do it at a high level. We've got to do it at a more consistently, and that's been his approach, and I'm counting on it tomorrow at practice being the same.
Jonathan, what can you do with the red zone efficiency? What's the problem there that is correctable?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at Aiden's picks, are they read and recognition or just errant throws?
This particular game on the interceptions, the couple of decisions, reads, was more the issue than just being flat out errant with it. Red zone issues are, again, you got to find ways to get in. I think you start a little bit with the run game, condense space, get down there. You got to make it physical. We haven't been able to get that going. I think a little bit sometimes we want to take a shot at it first. So there's a lot of ways to look at things, and we got to find the best to be able to score. So I'm not really answering your question, but I'm starting with the run game and then whether we take some shots at it. I'm not going to give our whole game plan away, but we haven't been effective really doing either one.
Jonathan, having been in the league with Chip Kelly for a little bit there, I'm wondering when you look at their offense, do you see things you recognize? Is it different than what they used to do at UCLA? And just in general, what stands out about how they've been scoring a lot of points?
You see some similarities that innovative. They can run the ball. They got some pace to them, tempo-wise. The quarterback has answers, whether he, in the run game or the pass game, really, really effective and challenging to defend.
You mentioned about being more effective and efficient in the run game. I guess when you see some of because it seems like the opponents have gotten a lot of backfield penetration on the handoff. Has there been any root cause of that? I mean, because it seems like it's coming from, sometimes it's in the middle, sometimes it's from the edge.
Yeah, I don't know if there's one particular reason. I know we've had some missed assignments, so you cut a guy loose, he's going to be in the backfield. Then it goes to a fundamental, especially on the outside plays. Our first step's not good enough, so now we're getting exposed and guys getting penetration. We got to be able to mix and match inside to outside that. And it hadn't just been like one particular player because we could address just that. But we've got some things to clean up in regards to recognition, footwork, and it's on the edge of it too. I'm not just talking to the 5-0 lineman.
Hi, Jonathan. I dare wade into the world of social media. 3-1 now, potentially being 4-0. Spartan fan response, this panic or patience. How do you respond to that as far as where things should be?
Well, there's definitely not panic, at least in our building, right? At the same time, there's a sense of urgency. We want to play, be playing our best football at the end. We got to keep on improving. We had opportunity to win a game, but we also had opportunity to be sitting here at 1-3, and so we've been able to finish on a field. Last game we didn't, but there's not panic, but there's definitely urgency in our building.
Coach, obviously you always want to win, but is there almost a silver lining to experiencing a loss before you head into this tough stretch?
Yeah, so I want our approach if we win or lose the game to be similar. So again, we pride ourselves when we win games that we don't just gloss over flaws that we have. And so it's going to be the same mindset this week of like, yeah, we came up short, but we got a great opportunity this, coming in front of us and approaching it that we got to put in some work to get better.
Jonathan, I was wondering about the offensive line. Obviously, you shook some things up last week. What you thought of that, and then where do you see it going this week and any other changes?
Yeah, and Brandon, kind of first time getting a bunch of snaps there inside. It was new on him, but he did some good things. As a whole, we got to find some more consistency there. We'll see what this week looks like if we, keep the same five guys or not. But those guys know we got to continue to improve, just like everybody. There was some good snaps. Think about that 4th and 1, and that was a huge play in the game. And those guys created enough movement. K-Ron had a nice carry, and so there's some snaps of really positive play. We just want more of them.
John, I want to say you guys came out of camp pretty healthy. It seemed like, at least. So when you look at the number of injuries now, is that just pure bad luck? I mean, you've been doing this long enough. Does that make you want to look at anything in like strength or training or anything when you have the numbers? Just how do you sort of?
We always look at that, and for sure, and it feels a little bit heavy this early part of the season where we're at. A lot of that has come from in the game type injuries, but we're always going to look at it. And again, we're not alone. I got to think every program's dealing with some setbacks and that, but we're always looking at year in and year out.
You haven't been here, but this rivalry's had some classic matchups from the 70s to the big upset in the late 90s when Ohio State was number 1 to the D'Antonio years when they had some big victories. Just wondering if you have a feel for what this Ohio State game means here.
Well, I know it means a ton. I just think about the recruiting side. We want to be in that state recruiting, and so playing the flagship program of the state, that means something. These guys, again, haven't been in the league, but this logo, this brand of football, it's a big time opponent.
Along with that, when Mark was here, he always kind of used this game as a measuring stick for where his program was, and I think a lot of it had to do with having been there and won a national title there. I guess, how do you do that? And when you have upper echelon teams in your conference, I mean, you had to face Oregon out there. Do you kind of use a program like that, and how do you use that as a measuring stick?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if we sit here and pinpoint, okay, these two opponents are going to tell us where we're at as a program. We got a bunch of respect for them, but again, we're going to treat this Saturday and our approach to this Saturday very similar, understanding that you're going to have to play really well to win a game, and I think we approach that week in and week out.
Jonathan, you've had some short yardage defensive success, and none more maybe than the goal line stand where you force the fumble, then even when they get it back, you stand them up. But I'm wondering if in your experience, when that happens for a team, does it become part of the DNA and their confidence and down there, and does it, obviously you got to have the players to do it, but does it feed itself a little bit?
They're not in yet, and so we know we're making them line up again. I did think it said something. The play before, the ball's on the ground, we've got an opportunity to get it, and we don't. And we got to line up again on 4th down, and then they show up and stop a good quarterback with good scheme. That was a huge momentum shift. So I think there's a belief that if they're not in yet, we can keep them out, and we've had multiple examples of that defensively. And I go back to this team of where you get that stop, and then we literally go about 90 yards offensively, converting multiple times in a hostile place, and the conditions ain't great to take the lead. It said something about this team.
Jonathan, they have not really been challenged so far. 3 blowouts. You guys it's been the opposite. You've been in 3 real close games. Obviously, you want to be in the 4th quarter, but if that were to be the case, do you see any benefit, maybe that for you guys having been battle tested and they haven't? Yeah,
I think I can't really speak on their behalf. I think there's some beauty to not being tested. But for us, we've definitely been tested and that. And we're going to get tested week in and week out this whole season. And so I think we've got some resilience to us, and we want to find a way in the 4th quarter to come out on top.
On the penalties, was there anything different you told the team leading up to the Boston College game?
Not a ton different. I do think those, again, we're learning, we're progressing. Our awareness was better around the sideline. I think we played with better technique at times, that kind of thing. Again, offensively, on the road, to have the one false start was better. We'd love to get it to 0. But there was nothing out of me. I go back, this place, we want to be player-led. Those guys have taken some ownership and did a better job on the penalty side.
Jonathan, I'm just curious. We saw when you guys were in the gun, you were doing the guard check sort of deal to snap it, like the guard was
Oh,
tapping
yeah.
the just purely curious, like how does that work? And was that like a road environment thing, or was that a rain thing?
That
Not
was
sure.
a road, just noise, and there's a
Okay.
few ways you can do it. It's kind of silent count, whether you got the guard looking back or the center's between his legs, and we try to use different ones on the road when, it's loud. And we want to be able to change that up, right? I don't want to give you all the ins and outs of the thing for the next time we're on the road. That was a technique we used. Yeah, guard was looking back, waiting for, when the quarterback's ready for it, and then communicates it to the center. A little bit, and your center makes calls, so for him to be able to keep his eyes down the field, there's some benefit because he's making calls.
Yeah, I'm wondering on the injury situation with the receivers. You mentioned about being late in the week with those guys last week. Do you anticipate it being an earlier idea and decision? Do you feel like you came out of that BC game?
Right. I think it's going to be similar this week. We feel like they're going to practice a little bit more. We're hoping that more than they did last week, but it'll still probably get a final say on Thursday or Friday. Thanks, guys.